Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Spice and Wolf episode 15. A little bit later than usual, but I couldn't record yesterday, so it's here. It's late, but it's here, and that's what matters, isn't it? In the previous episode, we started a whole new arc, essentially, right? We got into a brand new city with a brand new shipment of stuff and a brand new story to tell, brand new characters, brand new just everything. Just Craft and Holo stay the constant in this whole entire story. They themselves not being constant, but they being a constant in the story, if it makes any sense. Right. On the way here, Holo got a hair accessory from Craft after a little bit of very nice bickering that I grew to like so much between them. The hair accessory made of feathers that will apparently disguise her as a traveling nun who is not going to like proselytize, something like that, right? That she's traveling from place A to place B, but it's not gonna take somewhere on the way on a soapbox talking to people about how gracious is the god and stuff like that. That's how I understood it, at least. And like, you can't exactly go to her to, I don't know, pray or something, right? She's just traveling. That's my understanding of what those feathers mean. On the way, they've also met a merchant. I guess a merchant, yeah, a merchant of fish, who is carrying a lot of fish from somewhere by a lake to somewhere in the city that they are traveling to. That merchant being Fermi Amarti, very young, and as you guys told me in the comments, very successful, because it makes sense, right, that having live fish would be a symbol of status, essentially, right? Back then, they did not have freezing, they did not have refrigeration, they did not have all those technologies, right? I live plenty far from the sea, and I can get some, frozen fish from fucking Finland or wherever, right? The technology is there. I can even get some live fish because it can be transported very quickly by train, by car, by plane, by whatever, right? Well, maybe not live, but fresh would be the better way to put it. It's usually dead, but, fresh and not frozen. So those things are a thing in our current world, but back then, if you wanted some fresh fish, well, you better hope you live by a body of water, because otherwise, where are you gonna get them? Apparently, if you pay enough, somebody can bring it to you in barrels, which I can imagine was not a cheap thing, because it's one thing to transport like dried fish or cured fish, or even just, fresh fish but just dead and short distances. Maybe in winter that would kind of work, but it's another thing to travel with this much of space taken just by the barrel and by the water and the weight of the water, stuff like that. So someone fairly wealthy must have made that order. We arrive to the city, stay in an inn recommended by Fermi, and what? And Kraft goes to sell his wares, which this time around is nails. All sorts of varieties of nails, although I'm pretty sure there's also some other stuff on his cart. Don't quote me on that, but I think that there were some crates of nails and there were some like bundles of fabric or something like that. Or maybe it was just, their stuff like clothes, packed in a bundle, something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll learn about it in the future, probably. He met his old acquaintance, who settled down in the the life that Kraft really wanted, right? That guy has his own store, is settled in place, is plenty successful, has a wife, has a kid, just pretty much what Kraft wants, right? He also wants a store in a city. He did not mention family, I don't think, but actually, he said at some point that being settled in one place is easier, or makes it easier to start a family or something like that, maybe. So maybe family is somewhere in his plans still. And sold that guy his nails, and the dude also has some sort of an apprentice or something, which is another thing that a traveling merchant can't exactly have, right? Because that apprentice would have to travel with them, and that would increase traveling cost for little to no benefit, and not everybody would be willing to travel the world, yada 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 yada, all sorts of issues. The fact that Kraft even has someone to travel with him, that being Holo, that alone is, I believe, I'm not sure, that alone is unusual, so to speak, among like traveling merchants. And Kraft, and I assume Holo by extension as well, were invited to Mark is his name? I think so. Yeah, to Mark's place to meet, have some fun, have some drinks, have some food, maybe some barbecue or something, and catch up to what happened in their lives so far. Then we got a scene at the inn with Holo drinking a lot and getting a hangover, and despite being hungover, drinking more. Yeah, it's like a common folk wisdom that if you're hungover, you should just drink more. That way, you're never gonna be hungover. And I guess Holo decides to follow that. And lastly, we get that log breaking, cracking, right? That was significant. And as always, it was about, as always, I mean, it happened a couple of times already, that little bit of a schism between them. And it always happens because Kraft mentions something towards the, mentions something about like, oh, we're gonna split apart. I'm gonna get you there, but then you're gonna go alone. Shit like that. It always happens when he mentions that. And it was no different this time around when they were talking about Yoitsu. Yeah, about Yoitsu, Holo's hometown. Kraft wanted to know where it is, and apparently it's not far from Nyo something. Some other city with like hot springs and stuff, and Kraft knows where it is, so they know where to go, but they don't necessarily know how to find Yoitsu, right? There are probably no road signs, let alone roads, or rather roads, let alone road signs. Hello could probably be able to sniff it out and lead them there, but with her wolven form, it's gonna take her like 2 days. Meanwhile, a fully packed cart is gonna take weeks, if not more. So Kraft came up with, a decently good idea, presumably, that they go to Nyaharo, or again, whatever is the name of that city, and he stays there, and Holo just goes. He did not clarify fully, though, or maybe he did not intend to clarify that, that he meant he's gonna stay there, wait for Holo to find Yoitsu, come back, and leave him there, so that they're not lost in the snow with the cart for weeks, but rather know exactly where to go because Holo found it. He did not mention it early enough, though, and Holo, of course, took it as another sign of, we're gonna have to break apart. Kraft is gonna take me to Nyaharo, but then I'm gonna be alone, and I don't wanna be alone, and I'm gonna be sad about it. And sad about it she was, no doubt. There was also a little bit of talk about a lifespan, right? How Holo is, if not immortal, then at least very long-lived. Meanwhile, humans are just a spark in the grand scheme of things. So that's another thing they're gonna have to get over somehow, right? Another bit of a rift that, made the log of wood in the fireplace break. And that's where we are. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. And Holo doesn't know how to read. That's gonna be important, I feel. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen in today's episode. I mean, we are just starting the arc, so the proper, like, drama and story of this arc has not been established yet, right? There is no merchanting and trying to cheat their clients. There is no evil city lord trying to crack down on the pagans, or right, nothing of the sort quite yet. So I'm not sure exactly where it's gonna go. I'm assuming in today's episode we might pay a visit to Mark. Maybe we're gonna go for that barbecue that he invited us for. Maybe we're gonna do some business with Fermi. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We still have a couple of characters that we have not met, so maybe they're gonna be introduced. I don't know. Or maybe it's just gonna be a slice of lifey episode and Kraft is finally gonna get some honeyed peaches for Holo. That would also be nice. Right, so how about I just stop talking and start watching? How about that, right? To do it, you will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support. Support the channel if you want to monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with that out of the way, we can start watching episode 15 of Spice and Wolf in 3, 2, 1, go. Right, the situation from the sewers. Kraft being the knight for once in his life. Is she in his bed? No. I thought she might have climbed over. Sulking or just hungover? I guess we'll see after the opening. I really should get a new pair of glasses now. I've had those for years and they're started to get scratched. I don't know what's dirt and what's scratch anymore. They're gonna do for a while longer though. Yeah, a lot of books in this opening. And those people, the nun, I think, because she has the holy symbol on her neck. The noble lady. More books. And a weird bug with a long stinger looking thing. It's like a reverse mosquito with the sucker thing on its ass instead of on its head. Well, that's a funny looking fella. Alright. Never mind that. Chronicler. You're trying to find information about the town? About Yoitsu? Like, trying to make up his blunder by trying to find Yoitsu on his own, so that he doesn't need to send Holo alone, but rather he himself knows where it is? Maybe. Why exactly would this chronicler be so much of a persona non grata, I wonder? Asking the questions that should not be asked? Maybe. Hmm. That's a violent way to wake up. There we go. Freshly baked, probably. What's... Oh, I thought something stuck inside of it, but it's her pendant. Oh, I could go for some nice fresh bread. Actually, the little next door has a bakery, but they only bake in the morning, so I'm gonna have to go there in the morning and grab myself some, like, fresh bun or something. True. One silver trenny coin just for you. Right, so let's make it a date. Okay. Just tell her. Don't be vague like that. Just, don't blow your cover. Okay, so where's he going? I mean, he's going to meet the... Oh, two places. So probably to meet the merchant and then to meet the chronicler. Gotcha. I mean, she is a woven god. So, what do you mean it might not be true? Oh, hello, Fermi. What up? Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure about that. What did you have in mind, Fermi? Okay. Oh, you could go with Hola. Show her around, right? Okay, so I guess he's always been a sedentary merchant rather than, like, graduating from being a traveling merchant to a sedentary one. Okay, so go find her. Who's this voice actor? Did we check it out last time? I can't remember. Oh, the dude from the opening? Yeah. So it's like a liaison for the Chronicler? Hmm. What with all those effigies around the town? You start asking questions, where do they come from? Right? Like, conceptually. God's fickleness. What do you mean by that? Right by the city walls? Hmm. They are still shunned by the church, so their status doesn't change much, aside from the fact that they're not, like, gonna burn at the stake. Water? Yeah, just mud. I mean, she's an alchemist, supposedly, and sulfur is a very common alchemical ingredient. Cannery in a coal mine, basically. Huh. Hmm. Right, even things that you would have a hard time selling elsewhere. I mean, the idea is to turn lead into gold, so. What is magic in this world setting? I wonder. Like, magic, casting fireballs and shit? Or, like, faux magic, like, in real world's medieval times, where a woman looked at a cow and the cow died, so it must mean she has the evil eye and she's a witch. Like this sort of magic? Or like, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. That's the noble lady from the opening. I thought we are gonna see the like freckled nun girl. Who? She's Diana Rubens. Yeah. Why were you looking for a man exactly? I mean, I guess Rubens. Yeah, there was a painter, Rubens, wasn't there, right? He liked painting thick ladies, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the spiral staircase we've seen in the opening. I mean, any story has a grain of truth in it. Destroyed. Was it after Holo left, or was it why Holo left? They are connected. Chill. Yeah, he absolutely wants to figure out where Yoitsu is so that he doesn't need to send Holo alone, so that they don't have to be apart. Yep. He's really trying to correct his blunder. Mm-hmm. No, just I was about to ask whether it was Holo or someone else from the town, but no, it was Holo. It just straight up fucking Holo. I mean, yeah, that checks out. Yeah, checks out perfectly. Again, that's just her, not just her namesake. Our? Are you from that town as well, or were you quoting? Hmm. Nice camera here. Right. That's why Chronicler. Hmm. Okay, how much can we tell her? You're talking about Yarei's village? I forgot the name of it. Okay, so a nice evening of tales. New contact. A couple, even. You are Mark's wife? Yeah. We're Holo. I still have the time. He can afford to spill some beer. He's just flaunting his wealth. Nyohira, yeah, that was the name of it. How do you know? I guess the word spreads far. Ah, right. She ran off with another man. That's the story. Yeah, let's stay sober. Good choice. Don't trust Amati. Don't underestimate him. Yeah, I mean, fair, actually. I honestly think that Holo would find Amati annoying more than anything else with his, unwanted advances. Another pie in the oven. Hello? Oh, she did not come. She did. Good. Drunk again? She's like me in the morning. I remember when I was going to school, my mom would often have to just fucking drag me up on my feet. It can wait until tomorrow. It's probably not gold, it's probably pyrite. It's the gold cube that we've seen early. Of course. Nothing can stand up to your tail. I mean, she gave her companionship, right? Probably. Rumors are starting to spread. Yeah, true. And so she decided to travel with him and help him around. Gotcha. I mean, it works as a story. How? How exactly? It doesn't even have any markings on it. It's naturally grown, probably, assuming it's pyrite. Yep, it's pyrite. Yeah, I mean, listen to your ears. Lots of people getting scammed. Or maybe, yeah, lots of people getting scammed. Wait, was it the Damn. How much did it cost? Like 3 gold coins? I mean, 3 gold coins could probably buy you a house, so I'd say like 10 silvers. Probably not in the gold territory yet. Whomst? Oh, the apprentice. Oh, rumors are gonna spread. The fuck's going on, Kraft? Ooh, amazing place to fucking end the episode. I guess Mark got into trouble somehow? I mean, what else would make Kraft react this way? Why would he get in trouble, though? With the church? Someone figured that it was Mark who connected Kraft to the liaison, and the liaison has contact with Diane, and so Mark has been deemed guilty of fraternizing with a witch. This city is not that much under the church's boot, though. So even if he was accused of fraternizing with a witch, the worst that would happen would be being shunned by the religious part of town, and not like legal repercussions. Night of the festival and misaligned gear. Yeah. Okay. Fucking cliffhangers, right? Okay. Okay, let's watch it again. I'm gonna preemptively pull out my notebook because I can already tell there's gonna be some stuff to note down for sure. Where is Spice and Wolf? Spice and Wolf, there it is. Okay. Yeah, a memory of being in the sewers. I thought that Holo might be still sulking after what happened the day before, but I think she's just hungover. This is really, really interesting to me, this scene. Now we can pretty much safely say that it's not going to be the noble lady traveling in this carriage, right? Because the noble lady turns out to not be a noble lady at all, but rather a witch, quote unquote. So she's probably not gonna be traveling with some, guards and a couple of religious people walking behind her. It's more likely that it's some sort of a church important person traveling here. We have seen a dude with like a tall white Pope-y hat in the ending, so maybe it's some sort of a church official traveling here? Traveling to where and why? That's a good question. Some sort of a holy war on the current city that they're in, right? Like we can't allow the city to be inhabited by both pagans and religious people, so we're gonna go there and drive off all the pagans. Not enough soldiers for that, I don't think. Maybe they're hoping to get there and rouse the common rabble to stand against their pagan neighbors. Maybe. I'm just completely spitballing here. We now know where Holo got the fur scarf from. Right, this is not the liaison, and this is not who I thought the chronicler is gonna be. I thought that she's gonna be the chronicler, and she still has the holy symbol because she's essentially like, I still believe in God, right? I'm still devoted and I still pray every day, but I can't take part in, repeating the lies, right? The God told us to not lie. The God told us to be truthful. So I want to be truthful, but the church doesn't want that. So I was shunned, but I'm still religious, but I also try to speak the truth. So she's essentially not an apostate. Apostasy is the act of leaving the church on your own. Heretic, I guess she could be branded a heretic. That's what I thought her story is, but she's probably not the chronicler. I mean, most certainly not the chronicler, so probably not how the story goes. Fermi is gonna get into some trouble. I wonder what's that gonna be that drives him to drink. Unrequited love? Maybe. Some other trouble? Entirely possible. Yeah, that's our liaison and that's our witch. And yeah, that's the nun girl and a dude we have not met yet. Okay. Chronicler. People who earn money from nobles and the church. They aren't keeping a diary, they're keeping historical records. Kicked out of a convent somewhere. Right. Runaway heretic. Okay, so she was branded a heretic, like officially. Gotcha. Asking stories about the North and branded a heretic probably because of our interest in the northern lands, right? Like, we can't possibly talk about what's happening in the north, right? The north, they're savages. Every single fucking one of them. They don't believe in God, they eat babies, and they worship the devil. We must wipe them out. That's the official stance by the church. We can't have someone bring stories, right? Stories mean culture. No, those savages can't have a culture. We can't humanize them. So there's anybody who is actually interested in the North, who actually might even see some humanity in those people, well, we have to brand them a heretic. Nobody's gonna listen to the words of a heretic after all, right? Makes sense, I guess. I wonder... I mean... I was about to ask... I wonder why is the church so much opposed to the North specifically, but... that's kind of an empty question, right? The church is, of course, opposed to any non-believer, and there are non-believers up north, so of course the church is opposed to them. Duh. What's even there to think about? Middleman, someone from Rowan Gibatos. Does business with people no one should get involved with. I have a sneaking suspicion that he's gonna help us a couple more times. Nyohiram. And delicious bread. Yeah, I guess it's legitimately just a hangover. Man. Some nice, fresh bread. And that you can still smell, that still has a crispy skin that hasn't caught the moisture from the air and from within, like still warm inside, so that butter just melts slightly. Oh, holy shit, I could go for some just plain fucking bread with butter, as long as the bread is fresh. I have a bakery nearby. Maybe that's where they're gonna have fresh bread. But again, probably only in the morning. I'm gonna have to suss it out. I'm gonna have to suss it out, because bread is not expensive, and I could really just devour a fucking loaf. We can attend the festival now. Has the festival already started? I thought it's not gonna be for a couple more days? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, he very much is weak to the, you know, Puss in Boots eyes. Right, she's happy to get some change, but then realizes that, oh, I got the money, I can, you know, get myself stuff, but I'm still gonna be alone. Right? And it kind of feels like a bit like a, maybe not a bribe, but kind of like a fuck off money. A little bit, right? Like, I'm trying to make up me not being there with money, right? It's like an... I think we already talked about it. I'm not sure if in the case of Spice and Wolf or some other show, like an absent father who's never around, but then comes home every, like, once a year and brings like a bouquet of flowers and chocolates and buys an ATV for their child and shit like that, right? Trying to make up for their absence. This is like a lesser form of that, right? Trying to make up for his absence by giving her a silver coin. And initially it feels good, right? Like, she's happy, but then she realizes what it is, and she realizes that she prizes craft much more than just silver coins. Yeah, there's no point in going out alone after all. If you take me along with you, I shall return this to you. This is sad to me. It's really sad because it really sounds like a price has been put on his companionship in Holo's eyes. A little bit, right? Like, his absence can be made up with silver, so perhaps his presence can be purchased with it. This sort of a thinking. Yeah, and just look how sad she is. She's not, you know, she's not bickering now. She's not bantering. She's not ribbing him. with, you know, oh, I know how much you value money. Well, I can give it back to you if you take you with me. How does that transaction sound, right? None of that. Just, she's perfectly serious right now. But at the same time, she understands that at times her presence might be inconvenient. It's not a good feeling to have, right? She doesn't like that fact, but she understands it. And if, you know, if it's a must, she's going to deal with it. She will have to. She knows what consequences there might be to her presence when it's, you know, a potential detriment. Craft being so incredibly vague is really not helping. It really is not. It would be much better if he just told her straight, right? I'm trying to research our next destination, right? I'm trying to do my research properly. I want to know a lot about the city we're eventually going to. To do that, I'm gonna have to meet with who is branded as a heretic. You being there, you posing as a nun, being seen with a heretic, that's not gonna work. That might blow your cover, so I have to go alone. Forgive me, but I'm gonna have to go alone this once, right? It's not a lie. He says it how it is. He doesn't have to mention Yoitsu. He doesn't have to mention the North. But still, you know, give her some sort of an explanation. But instead he opts for, oh, I have to go somewhere and then I have to go somewhere after that. What kind of an explanation is that? Even if I have you wait for me, it might be for the whole time. Right, so even if he did take her with him, then she would just have to, you know, stay outside, essentially waiting and being bored. Should wander around on my own. Right, a little bit of jealousy never hurt anybody. She's being very direct right now. Snuggling in your arms is the best. They haven't snuggled yet, so hey, she at least, you know, expresses her desires fully. The town that worshipped the pagan wolf god, the town of Yoitsu, was annihilated by a monstrous bear. Oh, right, gotcha. I guess that's... I somehow completely missed that he was talking about Yoitsu being annihilated. I guess that's what Kraft wanted to check, right? Whether Yoitsu was truly annihilated or not. Is it just a legend? Did it really happen? I don't know. If it happened before Holo left, then it might have been a reason for her leaving. She still seems to be holding on the hope of coming back to Yoitsu there, right? Like, her goal is explicitly Yoitsu, not just the general North, but Yoitsu. So she probably doesn't know. So it probably happened after she left, and she did not get the news yet. Like a coffin crushed vertically. That's a description. Right. I wanted to check out Fermi's voice actor. Again, I can't remember if we checked that before. That's gonna be Saeko Chiba. Saeko Chiba, who also voiced Nina Einstein in Code Geass, Chika from Ichigo Mashimaro, Mio in Strike Witches, Ruby in Rosario to Vampire, and plenty other people. Yeah, more Chika, Dokuro from Bokatsu Tenshi Dokuro-chan. Interesting. Ajimu from Ajimu Kaigan Monogatari. Maho Izumi from Conan. Yeah, that was her earliest role in 96, Year of Our Lord. While we're at it, I want to check Diane's voice actress as well. Yeah. That will be Akeno Watanabe, who's voicing Izuku from Boku no Hero Academia, who's voicing Let's see. Nemurim, also from Boku no Hero Academia. Hamsuke from Overlord. Oh, so yeah, we did check out the voice actors before because I distinctly remember the voice actress of Hamsuke appearing. Disregard then. Right. She says you have a good eye for fish. I will look for other things for her to enjoy. I mean, he stayed true to his word, right? He got her a scarf, he got her a bit of pyrite. Who knows what else did he get her? Plenty of alcohol, that's for sure. Right, he wanted to show us around town. But, of course, Craft can't do that. But Holo is free, so might as well give her a guide. If I loiter around alone, all my profits will just go towards some alcohol. This young and already an alcoholic, huh? Interesting. I wonder if it's actually gonna be a thing that gets explored more. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, in those times... Oh, my camera just froze. Great. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Elgato, for being for being a camera. No. There we go. That's better. What was I? Right. I wonder if it's gonna get explored. Like in those times, the concept of alcoholism as an illness probably wasn't a thing, right? Like it was perfectly acceptable to just give your children wine because what are they gonna drink? Water? No, water is unsafe. Wine is safe, so our children should drink wine. That's how it was. Beer or wine, they were treated just like tea or Fanta or Sprite or whatever, right? So the concept of alcoholism did not exist, but people absolutely could be alcoholic. So I wonder if that's what we're alluding to here. We know that there are people who just, know their booze, know how much they can take, like Crab just being, no, that's enough, I'm not gonna drink more. So we know there are people conscious of that. Or it might just be a completely offhand remark. I'm gonna note it down just in case, though. Fermi is an alcoholic, or alcohol causes him issues. We've seen him very sad and dejected with a pint of beer. He's gonna get drunk and do something stupid? I don't know, maybe. Just, again, spitballing here. She's not just the type to quietly stay around. Right, so be quick and you might just about catch her. Chronicler. I've only recently grown interested in old stories. I mean, when you are essentially surrounded by old stories, you really can't help but grow interested in them, can you? Right? Like, many people probably just take those effigies for granted. Absolutely, right? Like, every year we make those effigies, it's, just how they are. This one's name is a Shungo, this one is a Baraktan. We just make them, and nobody really questions it. But when you look into the stories, it turns out that, Shungo was actually a deity of water and plentiful fish, and every year they raise his effigy in order to get into his good graces and bring more fish. And Baraktan is a divine bull that tramples the fields and in doing so tills the soil and makes it free of pests. So we must raise this effigy so that it wakes up at night and tramples all the pests in our fields, right? Stuff like that. And those came from somewhere, from some pagan religion or wherever. They have deep roots somewhere. And yeah, you really can't help but to wonder about the stories. I again bring up the story of us burning a fucking what's it called? Uh, I mean, it's Majanna. I don't think it has any, like, translation particular. The, like, straw effigy to chase off winter, and to us children, it was normal that we do that in a pond by the church. Nobody was really thinking about it much. But then you get into it and you realize that she was actually a fucking Slavic deity, the deity of winter, and there's a whole story around it, right? So it's something similar here. The world I know is actually very small. Right, indeed. Especially for someone who is presumably a sedentary merchant staying in just one place. You might know the story of this place very well, but you don't know the stories of other places. One edge that traveling merchants have, they get plenty of stories from plenty of people, plenty of perspectives, a little bit, broader understanding of the world. That's why I wanted to know about the world that I haven't seen. Yeah, even if they're legends, indeed. And we walk by the city walls, the worst living quarters, not a bit of sun, of course. And then we go even deeper. Right, it's not just a shag by the city walls. That would have been bad already, but no, it's worse. We go through some building. We don't go into this dingy little dark building with water on the ground. No, we get into a thin, narrow little alleyway full of water, full of probably feces that people just bucket out of their windows, like was custom in those days. Sulfur. Lots of birds. Not all poisonous winds smell bad. Yeah, true. That's why there was a cannery in a coal mine. Literal fucking cannery they took in a coal mine, because when you mine coal, sometimes in that coal there are pockets of gas that has no smell and has no looks, but is poisonous. Canneries, being very susceptible to that, very easily, very frail, they would get a whiff and fucking die. And that told the miners that they should get the fuck out. Curiously, later on, can't tell you the exact year, but I think it was like 1800s. No, later. Way later, probably. In any case, it was time where they didn't have like detectors. They still used canneries, but they were advanced enough to build a special cage for those canneries with a bottle of compressed air. And when the cannery would faint, they would close the cage, because it was like a glass thingamajig. They would close it. It was sealed shut. They would release the oxygen. That would save the cannery, and then they would run to, not completely, seemingly like unnecessary, right? Canneries can really be found dime a dozen, especially when they were bred for this specific purpose, but people really felt bad about it. So they built a specific, like, essentially like a diving suit for the cannery to still save them. It's, I really honestly think, one of the highlights of humanity as a whole, that we as humans came up with something like that to save that insignificant little cannery while also saving ourselves. It really can, like, bring back your faith in humanity if you think about it. We have to be wary if a bird suddenly dies. Right, and there's plenty of birds. Is it profitable? Yes, because sure, they buy the precious metals, but they also buy things that are effectively worthless, right? Like, what use there is for lead or tin, right? Not much. They are byproducts, essentially. Like, sure, some of them are used for bronze or for copper and lead make bronze, copper and tin make brass. Yeah, bronze and brass, those are useful, right, for decorative purposes, but also for functional purposes. Brass is self-lubricating, so machines and stuff like that. Mercury is just a byproduct. There's no use for it. It's just liquid metal. Oh, that's funny. Maybe I should, drink a little bit of it and it's gonna make me healthy. It's gonna do the exact opposite. But other than that, it's just a byproduct. acquired from smelting some of the ores. So as far as he's concerned, he's just selling garbage and getting good money for it. Sulfur, phosphorus, they don't have black powder yet, so sulfur and phosphorus are kind of useless. Are they? I guess maybe in the production of torches, sulfur could be used. No, it was probably just tallow. Yeah, not much of a use. And yeah, iron and lead. Those are plentiful everywhere, and the alchemist still buys it. Alchemists dabble in magic, but they aren't much different from goldsmiths. Some of them do research magic. Right. I really want to know about what's magic in this world exactly. Don't tell me in the comments, by the way, if we're not clear. Some of the comments I noticed just kind of strayed a little bit on the line of spoilers, so please, exercise caution there. But I really wonder, what's the magic here? Again, is it just the make-believe magic of a woman visited us and our child fell ill, that must mean the woman is a witch and cursed us? Or magic as in maybe nothing flashy like casting fireballs, but something small, maybe like, I don't know, something like real, actual, tangible magic. I don't know, we'll see. We know that there has to be some sort of magic, right? With Holo being able to transform. That can only be explained by magical means. Her being able to influence the fields to grow better, that's also some sort of a magic. So something is there, but perhaps very subtle. And the magic is less fireball and more put a hex on a flower pot and the flower is going to need less water. Right? Stuff like that. Maybe. And we have our noble lady, who I thought is a noble lady, but no. She is the alchemist and not much of a noble, although she might very well have noble roots. Dion Rubens. She has a very, very nice place, and this fucking just throne right in the middle with light being cast on it on an elevated area with just feathers and bird shit around. This is like, it really shows her importance here, right? She's above the both of them. Yeah, it really shows her, how do I even name it? Importance is too vague of a term to use here. It shows her, I don't know how to put it. Basically, it's someone that she's someone that people look at with fear and a little bit of reverence and a little bit of those feelings, and it shows. It shows on Kraft's face. It shows in the composition of the shots. No business, just stories. Stories about Yoitz. Town that was destroyed by a bear that hunts the moon. I am willing to believe in the existence of a big bear. We know of the existence of big wolves. It's, not a stretch to say that if there are, wolves like Holo around, then there might be creatures like her, but bears instead of wolves, right? Stands to reason. Hunts the moon? Less so. That's probably the legend part. The big bear destroying Yoitsu might be the truth, that it's a mythical bear that hunts the moon, like fucking Ursa Major or whatever. That's probably a stretch. That's probably the legend. Irava Vilm Headhand. Okay. Irawa Vilm Headhando. It really gives the, constellation Ursa Major, Ursa Minor vibes, right? With the stars surrounding it. quite an old story, so it happened a good bit of time ago. And the location. At the source of the Rom River that runs north from Proania is a town called Lenos. Okay, so I'm assuming our next next stop is Proania, then along the Rom River to Lenos, and from Lenos to Joitse. Yeah, I think that's safe to assume that that's our goal. Town known for their lumber and fur. Okay, so we can do some good merchandising. Lone wolf appeared in a village. So tall, taller than the people. Hollow. A little bit different spelling, different pronunciation, but ultimately the same name. And the same person, indeed, the same character, the same traits. So it absolutely was Hollow, who stayed around for a while until she left for some reason. We don't know what reason that might be. The deep mountain forests of the east to travel southward. Gotcha. So we have our direction. Loved wine, loved playing around, younger than her age. Yeah, fits her perfectly. Good harvest. Wheat-tailed hollow. Why did she use we? Is she from the town of Lenos? Maybe. Why else use we? Unless she was quoting, but just in case. Dian Rubens is from Lenos. And as thanks, right. No monetary things. I really like this shot. She really is like purposefully given that vibe of mystery and otherworldliness, both in how she behaves, how she speaks, how she's framed in every shot. Those like camera work here really exacerbates her otherworldliness here. I love old stories from pagan lands, old stories and legends that haven't been twisted by the church. Yeah, so her goal is essentially what I thought from the very get-go. She wants to tell the stories that the church won't tell you. She wants to chronicle the things that the church would prefer to just burn and not speak a word of. That's her goal here. And we happen to have a story. Yarei from Yarei's village. And legendary dragons and cities of gold. Where did that come from? I have no clue. But apparently that was also a story that they exchanged at some point. We hang around with them a little bit. And of course, the rumor spreads fast. The word spreads fast, especially if it's someone who stands out so much as a beautiful, otherworldly beautiful nun who's traveling with a shady merchant, right? That the word spreads. And then she's seen with the other merchant boy who got to riches very quickly. And is she trying to betray her companion? Is the boy trying to raise her up, right? What's going on there? Right? Have you heard? They were seen coming out of a tavern together, right? The rumor starts living its own life. That's what's happening here, essentially. In a nice inn with a gorgeous nun, fearless before God. Right. I wonder if this boy might be spreading rumors. Just a hunch. Just a hunch. I'm gonna note it down just in case. Marx. Apprentice is spreading rumors. Perhaps not directly. Perhaps it's not him. Maybe he just comes back home and tells his mother, and then his mother the next day goes to the market, buys some carrots, and a woman she knows walks up to also buy some carrots, and she's like, "Oh, have you heard? There's that gorgeous nun that arrived in our city, and I heard that she's laying down with a man." Right? Stuff like that. Maybe that's how it happens. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, he's been busy. Amati was free. Don't underestimate Amati. I mean, that much is a given. He did not get to where he is right now by being a bad merchant and a person who's easily underestimated, right? He got here because of his acumen? Is that the correct word to use here? Maybe. His skill as a merchant, his natural traits. So you gotta be wary of that. But of course, yeah, Holo would absolutely not betray Craft at this point whatsoever. And she's drunk again. She doesn't learn. She just does not fucking learn. Or she likes alcohol more than she likes being sober, which reeks of alcoholism. I'm probably trying to look like too much for that specifically. Expensive looking thing. And other stuff as well. High quality fur, of course not as high quality as your tail, obviously. And the relationship is that, yeah, she's a nun that Kraft saved from bad people, and then she feels indebted, and so she follows him around and prays for safe travels and stuff like that. I mean, it's a good story. It works. Fortune teller. How do you tell fortune from a cube of pyrite? Yeah, fool's gold. Naturally chips off in this shape. Indeed. Minerals have all sorts of curious shapes. Because of their crystalline nature, of course. But, like, when I first saw basalt columns for the first time in my life, I was like, what? Holy shit, how can rock grow in this shape? Was it aliens? Did someone sculpt it? Right? But no, it turns out that basalt crystals, or I think like metacrystals, something like that. I don't think basalt is a crystal. Whatever, doesn't matter. It has a naturally hexagonal pattern, so the columns also grow in a hexagonal pattern. Duh. When I first saw a tiny little thin slice of mica, and I purchased it because it was so cool, such a cool like memento from some silver mine that we were visiting with my class or sometime way back when. I also thought, oh, what? How do they cut this stone this thinly? Like, I have some like thin slices of agate and other like semi-precious minerals at home, and we would buy them every now and then because they are pretty, but what, this thin? That's fucking paper thin. But no, it turns out that mica just flakes off like that, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I can very much see Holo just being completely stumped by pyrite. Yeah, used to con others into thinking it's gold. Indeed. Fortune teller. The fortune teller. Is it Dian? I think it's Dian. Another guess would be the nun lady, Elsa, she's called, but I think it's Dian. But she was with Kraft, so it couldn't have been her. Unless this happened after Kraft left? No, it's daytime, so it couldn't have. Did it happen before Kraft visited her? The fortune teller is Dian or Elsa. Elsa is the freckled nun, right? Or is she someone else completely? Elsa. I'm just gonna note freckles in case it's not her. Fortune teller. How can you tell fortune with just uniform, more or less cubes? Like, I would understand it if they had different patterns, then sure, okay, whatever the die says is gonna happen or something. I would understand it if you would sell like a bunch of them with maybe different symbols, or just a bunch of them and see the patterns, or maybe have like a magical circle, and wherever they land on the circle you read future from that. All sorts of methods like that. Or if they were non-uniform, then you could treat them like bones and their orientation and how they cross each other, stuff like that. But they're just uniform cubes. But apparently she was able to tell a lot of future from it. And also they heal sickness and ward away evil, of course. I mean, every magical thing back in the days was multi-purpose. A whole entire fucking auction. Clever business strategy. I'm trying to look for the significance of pyrite here because it appears in the opening. Fermi was willing to purchase it at an auction, which could be explained by the fact that he just wanted to impress Holo. Sure, right? Look, I have so much money, I can buy this cube for you, basically. It could be that he has no experience in dealing with anything but fish, and so he legitimately thinks it's solid gold, and he's gonna get scammed easily. That's why we could see in the opening him drinking alone, sad and dejected. I'm gonna note it down just in case. Fermi falls for fool's gold scam. I wonder. And then the boy is here. Message from my master. Oh, no, I'm indecent. She's not making things better. She's really not making things better. Oh, the rumor's gonna spread. I don't think that whatever it is was bad because I can see Holo smiling. But Kraft is just fucking panicking. What the fuck happened? Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a week. God damn it. Night of the festival and misaligned gear. And night of the festival, I mean, that much is obvious. Misaligned gear. I know. Think I know. The freckled nun girl is a cog in the church's machine, but she's misaligned somehow. She questions the teachings. She questions what's truth and what's lie. Something like that? Maybe. The freckled nun is a misaligned gear in the church's machine. Speaking of the church's machine, kind of spitballing here, but I wonder if there's some sort of a grand conspiracy involving the church. Like, it's not necessarily that they want to fight against the North because it's full of pagans and heretics, but rather they have some vested interest in it. And the church is not so much a natural creation, so to speak, but it was created specifically for a purpose. To rouse the masses against the North, or something like that. Church conspiracy. It's an artificial creation made with a purpose. It didn't rise from, I don't know, someone starting to proselytize the one true God and everybody joining the faith, but rather it was an industry plant, for the lack of a better term. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And I see that my camera was probably way too bright for the last bit. But whatever. Doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. So, that's gonna be a long video. Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes already. Whew. Good episode. I enjoyed it. What more do I say about it? I'm really curious about Diane, most of all. She really seems to be doing well for herself. She really seems decently well off, right? Like, she seems very good-mannered. She has that air of nobility to her. I wonder where that comes from. Was she a church's official that was shunned as a heretic eventually? Was she actually a noble lady, daughter of a noble house? I don't know. I'm not sure, but there is something to her that really makes me believe she picked those habits and mannerisms and clothing and style in general somewhere. Right? Like, she's clearly not a village girl who started to question the teachings of the church and thus she was branded a heretic. It's clearly not the case. There is some past to her, some very interesting past. I wonder if she... That's probably a stretch. That's probably a huge fucking stretch. But I wonder if she might be from Yoitze. If she might also be some sort of a were creature. Maybe not a wolf, but was she the bear? That's probably too far-reaching. Yeah, I have noted that Diane is from Lenos, or North in general. I wonder. It's an interesting thought. What if the North was a big, successful civilization that was attacked by the savages from the South, essentially? And the South kept winning, and the North kept losing. And as we all know, history is a story written by the people who survive. So it's the South that writes the story about the North. Probably not. I'm probably reaching way too far with that. But there is something to the end that I'm not quite sure what it is. What else about this episode? I wonder what's gonna be Fermi's role in it. Like, he's clearly a important character, right? He's clearly not just a throwaway that was supposed to show Kraft and Holo to a place where they can stay. He's gonna be a recurring character. He already is a recurring character. So I wonder what's his role gonna be there. Is he going to be more of a friend or more of a foe? That's also an interesting thought. right? If he maybe decided that he wants to take Holo away from Kraft. Maybe something like that. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, he's a horny teenager. He's full of hormones, and he saw a pretty lady. It could very well be that he's going to try to use his wealth to get the pretty lady. Entirely possible. I don't know. I don't know. How did he even get to where he is right now? That's also a very good question. How do you get to be this successful at this young of an age? Did he find a particular niche? Is it his parents' money talking, or what exactly is the deal here? And most importantly of all, what the fuck happened with Mark? Why is Kraft so panicked? Why Holo seems to be perfectly fine and smiling? The nails turned out to be faulty. I don't know. His wife is giving birth and he needs help. I don't know. I don't think it's something like, you know, something bad happened to him, because then Holo would have no reason to smile. So it's probably nothing like life-threatening, but rather something silly that Kraft takes very seriously. Yeah, that's the thing with seasonals, right? I can't just watch episode 16 right now. Gonna have to wait. I'm gonna have to wait a whole another week. Oh, oh well, it is what it is. We're not gonna get over that in any way, shape, or form. So, I think that's gonna be it from me for today, but maybe you guys have something more to add on the topic of this episode. If so, I'm curious. Say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please, I beg of you. Spoilers can always go to my Discord. There's a specific channel that you can use. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to be notified of future videos, not only Spice and Wolf, but also Washio. What else is there? Bunch of new shows. Washio, hold that thought. Shy Season 2, Wistoria is fucking amazing, go watch Wistoria. And Konosekai wa Fukanzen Sugiru, the QA in Another World. Yeah, it's gonna take a while until I learn all those titles. So click the bell to be notified of when those videos go up and when I stream, because I stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to Washio and other non-seasonal shows, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube, membership, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my wonderful Patreons: QB, Without a Ned, Zerene, Yuki Ala, Ishtamu, Dr. Ward, Friedrich, Jung, Akamancer, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to ask an alchemist for help.